You can't see yourself directly. Everything you know about yourself comes from reflection, and reflection is never complete. Hi, my name is Steph Fitzgerald, and I'm the Experience Architect. I design how systems shape human experience, and this is Experience Systems, where leadership, psychology, and design converge into living systems. We like to believe we understand ourselves, our strengths, our intentions, our identity, but most of what we think we know is constructed because you don't experience yourself the way others do. You experience your thoughts. They experience your behavior. And those are not the same system. So how do we bridge that gap? Through reflection. And this idea isn't new. Mirrors show up across stories, across cultures, across time, because reflection is one of the oldest ways we've tried to understand ourselves. In Greek mythology, there's the story of Narcissus. He sees his reflection in still water, and he believes that's who he is. Not a version, not a surface, not a moment. The truth. And that's where the system breaks. Because when you mistake reflection for reality, you stop questioning it. And when you stop questioning it, you stop growing. That's why mirrors show up again and again in storytelling. They're not just symbolic. They're instructional. They show us that perception is mediated. And even in the physical world, that's true. Because mirrors don't actually reverse you. They reflect light at equal angles. What comes in goes out. There's no inherent flip. The mirror doesn't change left and right. It changes front and back. But your mind fills in the rest. It assumes a perspective shift. And in that assumption, distortion is introduced. So the inaccuracy isn't the mirror. It's the interpretation. And this happens everywhere. We don't just receive signals, we interpret them. We fill the gaps. We create the meaning. And once we've created that meaning, we treat it as reality. That's the real mirror problem. Not that reflection exists, but that we trust our interpretation more than we trust the system itself. So if reflection is incomplete and interpretation introduces distortion, then the solution isn't better mirror. It's more mirrors, different ones, different angles, different perspectives. You don't find clarity in a single reflection. You construct it over time. And that requires intention. You have to build your mirrors, not just through your own observation, but through others, through feedback that isn't filtered, through environments where people feel safe enough to reflect honestly. Psychological safety isn't just cultural, it's structural. It determines whether reflection is accurate or distorted. Sometimes that means creating anonymous feedback. Sometimes it means seeking out people who are outside your system. Coaches, mentors, therapists, people who aren't reacting to your position, but to your behavior. And at the highest level, there's another shift. You start reflecting on yourself, not from your perspective, but from someone else's. You place yourself in their position and you ask, what would this look like from there? This is the hardest mirror because it requires humility, the willingness to question your own model, to consider that your interpretation might be incomplete. And when you start doing this, it doesn't feel clear at first. It feels chaotic, like walking into a hall of mirrors. Everything reflects something different. Everything feels slightly off. Some reflections feel accurate. Some feel distorted. And at first, it can be disorienting because you're not used to seeing that many versions of yourself. But that's part of the process. Because now the question changes. It's not, is this right? It becomes, is it the mirror or is it the reflection? Is the system distorted or is it revealing something you haven't seen yet? And over time, you start to calibrate. You start to recognize patterns, consistency, signal. And slowly, clarity emerges. Not from one reflection, but from many. Because systems don't adjust without feedback. And feedback is just reflection made visible. You can't see yourself without reflection, but no reflection is complete. So don't look for clarity in one place. Build it for many. And when what you see feels unfamiliar, don't reject it immediately. Ask, is it the mirror or is it me? This is Experience Systems, and this is how we begin to understand not just who we are, but how we become visible through the systems that reflect us back.